What if there was a battery that had the capacity to power anything from as large as an aircraft all the way down to a simple smartphone? It'd be pretty neat, wouldn't it? Well, I'm here to tell you that there is. Kinda. Nano Diamond Batteries, or NBD, has caught the eyes of many, and no less Peter Zeihan, who has discussed the viability of such a power source. Even Joe Rogan has gauged him in a conversation about if it's possible to apply NBDs in a practical sense, and Zeihan had a lot to say about it. Everything from 28,000 years of battery life to the US government approving building power plants for it. If you want to learn more about Nano Diamond Batteries, then you want to stay tuned until the end to know the details. So let's not waste any more time. Now, nuclear energy isn't anything new. We've been using nuclear reactors since the mid-50s, and the goal was to prove that it could be used for commercial use. The reason being is that nuclear energy is not only cleaner than most energy sources and provides a reduced carbon footprint, but because it can provide a significantly higher output than other renewable power sources. Additionally, the Atoms for Peace program proposed by Dwight D. Eisenhower in 1953 helped encourage programs for the use of nuclear energy on something that wasn't Japan into a more productive form. What this really meant was that we want to use nuclear energy, but we want help with it, so let's make it wholesome. And this is precisely what happened. I need not introduce the atomic bomb to you, but in essence, nuclear energy has always been a contentious thing, and despite how much good it could do, the real problem was the human element, which we'll get into a little later. However, the point still stands that it's no secret that nuclear energy requires less resources and produces more power than other renewable energy sources. For example, in order to power a 1,000 megawatt electric pressurized water reactor, approximately 27 tons of uranium, which are equivalent to more than 18 million fuel pellets contained in over 50,000 fuel rods, are needed every year. On the other hand, a coal power station of comparable capacity demands over 2.5 million tons of coal to generate the same amount of electricity, so it's proportionally more effective and creates less strain on the power grid. So sure, uranium is the main fuel source for nuclear reactors. We need less of it, but it's not as plentiful as it might seem, since 85% of all uranium is mined in just 6 countries: Kazakhstan, Canada, Australia, Namibia, Niger, and Russia, and of that group, Kazakhstan accounts for 45% of all mined uranium. And to put it into perspective, last year they mined 21,819 tons of the stuff, and Namibia, which is second, mined 5,735 tons. And remember that 27 tons are needed to power a 1,000 megawatt electric pressurized water reactor, so it's safe to say that uranium doesn't come easy, and there's yet another wrench in the mix when it comes to supplying uranium, as described by Peter Zeihan in the following podcast clip.
And most of that stuff is processed in either China or Russia, so we honestly can't, that's like 40% of global supply that is under a degree of threat right there. So while I certainly agree that nuclear should be part of the solution, we do have an absolute limit as to how big it can get.
So geopolitical factors play a great role in where countries get their uranium from, and it's worth considering because as of late, both China and India are 2 countries who are working towards building more infrastructure to sustain these nuclear energy plants. Especially China, who has set its sights on a significant expansion of nuclear power capacity by the year 2030 and has plans for over 100 additional large units that have gained credible political backing and popular support. A number of these units are based on the latest Western designs or modifications of them, while others are largely indigenous designs. However, I for one am speculative of China's capacity to efficiently produce and sustain nuclear energy production, mainly because the technology is still in its prototype stages and nobody knows if it will even be viable for widespread use. Zeihan also explains that it will require advanced technology to increase public acceptance of nuclear energy, but 2 new technologies are in the prototype stage. One of them is the 4th generation pebble bed nuclear facility. The French are leading the way in its development, and the design of this facility minimizes the risk of a meltdown as each pebble is surrounded by insulated material and contains only a small amount of uranium, making it theoretically meltdown proof. China has also been working on a similar 4th generation facility, but not too much is known about it. However, in essence, the goal of these facilities is to limit the possibility of meltdowns to provide a way to make it available on a larger scale. And as for our American viewers, don't think we've forgotten about you, because the US government has approved the development of a prototype for a small modular reactor that you can fit in a container. Good old American ingenuity, am I right? It's got the potential to power a decommissioned coal power plant and cut down 3/4 of the cost of a normal reactor, and depending on the size of a power plant, you can put up 9 of these babies into a single arrangement. However, it's not going to be easy to make.
So hopefully we'll find out within a couple of years whether it's viable and safe. But if it is, you still then have to go through the process of bringing it into mass manufacture.
Right.
And so you're really talking about 2030 before we get any appreciable movement in this in terms of actually affecting the grid.
Yeah, not a short-term solution, but small modular reactors are looked at here, or SMRs. You know, you can walk the streets of Calgary and hear people talking about SMRs.
So up until now, we've discussed the competition surrounding the supply of uranium and the manufacturing aspect of nuclear energy plants. But what about the actual battery itself? You know, like I mentioned. Well, good thing you asked, because I was just about to address that. It's like we're one brain or something. I didn't even write a script. We just thought of the same thing. Right, so what I'm about to say is a mix of paraphrasing what Mr. Zeihan said in one of his interviews with Joe Rogan and what I've learned throughout my research. So bear with me. NBD is a startup that has developed the process of making nano diamond batteries by utilizing recycled nuclear waste isotopes. The battery harnesses the energy produced from radioactive decay, which makes it similar to solar panels. However, the use of radioactive materials necessitates significant security measures to ensure safety. The NBD battery is capable of charging devices of various sizes, including rockets, electric vehicles, hearing aids, and smartphones, and can last up to 28,000 years. Nevertheless, a secure location is crucial for its installation. The battery functions by incorporating an isotope, a converter, and a storage unit. The isotope, which is radioactive waste material, generates electricity by decaying radioactively. The converter then transforms the radiation into usable electricity, while the storage unit stores energy for later use. Boy, if my 9th grade science teacher could hear me now. Anyways, as for the dangers of poor handling of radioactive waste, I'll let Zeihan explain that one for you.
Interpretation, it's a pipe dream, because you think about what would happen if this is real and you can get a sizable one of these, like for a car. All it takes is a pickaxe and all of a sudden somebody has a dirty bomb.
Jesus.
Yeah, having it in a secured location where it provides energy to a grid, maybe have a good security system.
Yeah, so even if the idea of using nuclear waste as an energy source may seem appealing, it's essential to recognize the hazards associated with radioactive materials. The storage and handling of nuclear waste necessitates strict safety protocols to prevent environmental or human harm, as nuclear waste has a half-life of thousands of years, meaning it can remain radioactive for an extended period. And since humans have such a good track record with preventing accidents from happening, it's enough to make you lose some sleep. As for now, I think I've spooked you enough. If you want to take your mind off things, check out our other video on what Peter Zeihan thinks about China's Ponzi-like property market and learn what the 3 red lines policy is. And as always, we hope you enjoyed today's video and perhaps it gave you something to think about and to discuss with friends and family. If you found it useful, make sure to like the video, and if you want more content like this, don't forget to subscribe for more future content. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. I'll be seeing you.